Welcome back to the Cobra Corner Podcast. I'm your host, Will Habel, and to my left today is my co-host, David Mack. We're going to be joined by new head director of media relations, Tyler Thomas, and photographer and men's lacrosse member, Max Hogan today. We'll also be covering big stories, recapping this week's wins, looking ahead in the next week, and exciting matchups on the horizon. From achievements in tennis to dominant performances on the soccer field, well, we got all the information you need to stay in the game. So let's dive in with some quick headlines.
All right, first off with some quick headlines. Men's soccer, the rankings released today, they moved up from 24th to 18th in the country in Division II. And for the first time in school history, tennis sent 12 athletes, 6 on the men's side, 6 on the women's side, to the ITA regionals. So great things happening there in Cobra Athletics. And now for our weekly recap. All right, first off with women's soccer, they won 3-1 versus USC Aiken, and which I think all 4 goals were scored in the second half of that one. So tight-knit game up until the last minute. Maya Clark with 2 goals, and then Mila Rausch had a goal there at the end to extend the lead to 3-1. So great, solid weekday win for women's soccer. And then men's soccer also had a really good win this weekend.
Yeah, they did. They played Receiving Votes LME Rail Splitters over the weekend. Took a dominant 5-1 win in that game. Closest the game came was at the starting whistle when it was 0-0, as the Cobras came out fast out the gate en route to a dominant 5-1 win. Oscar Kufman was the feature of this one, notching 2 goals and 1 assist. And Frederick Benedict's notched a goal and an assist of his own, with Maddie Tricker, Mitchell Stars, providing the other 2 goals. The 3 other assists came from Yori Kaiser, Connor Duggan, and Rafa Reno. Now to the golf course of women's golf. Junior Daniela Gioni finished 8th individually as Coker put together a 9th place finish in the Savannah Lakes Invitational. Gioni shot 4 over en route to a top 10 finish. Coker sat in 7th after Monday's opening round, following a team score of plus 19. Daniela Gioni was even on the round, putting her in 3rd place through her first 18 holes, while Giselle Morna also placed in the top 40 with a plus 5 round in the morning of day 1. On day 2, Coker dropped 2 shots, finishing in 9th place for the tournament. And now to the tennis courts.
So both the men's and women's tennis teams traveled up to Sumter, South Carolina for the ITA Southeast Regionals. For the first time in school history, both the men's and women's teams sent 6 athletes up to the tournament. So that's, like I said, the first time that's ever happened on both sides, which is a great performance by both teams. 5 singles players from the women's side got out of the first round. They had a round of 16 appearance by Jade Belagy, and then 2 of the doubles pairs won their first round matchups as well. And then also for the first time, we had a doubles pair and a singles player seeded on the women's side. Jade was the 9th seed in the singles tournament, and then the pairing of Jade and Emerson Banning was the 4th overall seed in the tournament on the doubles side. And then for the men, same thing, 6 men competed in the tournament. Sam Winter has had a stellar spring. He won his first 2 singles matchups, defeating his opponents from Converse and Lander, and then ended up losing to an athlete that was playing today for a spot in the final. And then on the doubles side, he paired up with Sharif Vossen to win their opening round matchup 8-6. And then the other Cobra pair that won was Tom Lammers and Benedict Whitman, who defeated Mount Olive in their opening round matchup and then lost in a really, really close matchup that was decided by a few key points to North Greenville's 1 doubles pair. And so, yeah, they'll be both back in action. They host a tournament this weekend, so really excited to see that. All right, so on the podcast with us this week, we're joined by new Director of Athletic Media Relations, Tyler Thomas, along with one of our other interns, Max Hogan, who does photography and stuff for us, along with being on the men's lacrosse team. So Tyler being new, we just kind of wanted to introduce him to the crowd that watches the podcast and kind of get a little bit of background on him, and then just talk about some social media stuff, and then talk about the athletic department in general with all these guys. So I guess Tyler, just give a little bit of a background, like where you're from, where you were at before this, and how you kind of got into this career, and what you did in college and all that stuff. So,
all right. So yeah, my name's Tyler. I'm from Farmville, Virginia, a little town right outside of Richmond. Grew up there. Ended up working at Longwood University after I graduated college. Worked there for a little over a year in the communications department. So that's kind of how I found my way here. In college, I played basketball at a small school called Mary Baldwin. Played there, and kind of in between summers, got into a couple internships that kind of got me into this field and sparked my interest in it. And so that's kind of how I ended up here and how I got into the role and became in the athletic communications department as a whole.
So we kind of just got everybody on here today to talk about one of the social media, like Dave and Mack said a little bit earlier. But we also just want to talk about the games this week, since it was Tyler's first week fully here. To kind of have a full team to talk about everything that happened this week. So first off, we got the women's soccer game. Which was that your first game?
It was my first game.
Yeah. So not a bad way to start there. Again, the women's soccer team beat USC Aiken 3-1. I was on the sideline for that one as well as Max taking pictures and video. Dave and Mack on air.
On the call.
Yeah, and then, so it was a fun time. Tyler got his first reps under the belt. Yeah. So what was your standpoint on that game?
Yeah. First game, first
Yeah,
win.
Dave and Mack's getting better at the play-by-play for soccer.
Yeah,
Slowly.
The first game was a little rough. I mean, soccer's a sport that there can be lulls in play quite a bit. So, so you kind of just have to, like, as soon as there's a ramp up in action, you have to be ready to go, and you can't get complacent with it. So that's kind of what I had struggled with previously. But yeah, we're getting there, and we're figuring it out.
How do you like Cobra soccer?
Yeah, I was impressed with the women's team. They're young, not a lot of young players, but I thought they played well. In both games they played this weekend, even though they lost the one on Saturday. I thought they're pretty good, and they've got a lot to look forward to in the future as well as the season. I think they're going to be pretty solid for the next couple of years to come. I think they're building a really good program.
The crazier game was the men's game on Saturday against Lincoln Memorial. They were, now they're not, but they were at the time receiving votes nationally. And the reason that they're not receiving votes nationally anymore was because of the performance that Coker put on Saturday. 3-0 lead in the first half, and then still continued to pour it on, and it ended up 5-1. We already talked about it a little bit, but Oscar Koofman had 2 goals and an assist, and in my opinion, got snubbed for SAC Offensive Player of the Week in a huge win like that. And
I also wanted to mention Taco Wira. He drew that penalty that Matty Tricker ended up getting the goal for. So
yes, and I mean
he might not be in the stat sheet, but he's the sole reason they have one of their goals.
Oh, but he sure was on the stat sheet the week previous.
Yes.
So yeah, they're it's nice to see like there's different guys contributing depending week to week, So it was great to see them all compete hard, and some of you, if you're following our social medias, you've probably seen Will's video recap that he did for that game, and you saw the speech at halftime that Coach Antonovich gave, and just he said, like, we cannot let our foot off the gas, like we have to. I think his exact words were, "We want to make sure they never want to come back here ever again." And I hope that's what their feeling is they don't want to come back to Coker to play again. But I guess that was your first full day of action, doubleheader. So how was it from your perspective watching both games back to back?
Yeah, I mean, kind of piggybacking off what you said, I thought, what makes the men's soccer team really dangerous is kind of the fact that they have a lot of players and they share the ball well. I was very impressed with the way they shared the ball. The ball never really stuck, and that's something that I was pretty impressed with, and I think that helped, kind of grab that 5-1 win. And then the other piece of it that was pretty impressive was not getting complacent. When you're up 3-0 at halftime, it's probably pretty easy to kind of take your foot off the gas and coast the rest of the way. And they didn't do that. I mean, they gave up 1 goal early in the second half if I remember correctly.
It was 3-1.
Yeah,
scored.
and then they kind of got right back onto it and put the foot on the gas and added 2 more goals. So that's impressive. I think that speaks volumes to, you know, what they're trying to build and what they're going to be moving forward is.
Yeah, they lost. So
that one goal they gave up, they were pretty salty about that they even gave it up.
Yes, exactly, which is a testament to how they view that, you know, regardless if they win 5-1, they're not happy that one goal was scored on them.
And Michael he definitely made that clear at halftime that he was
they did
keep going to
let up. And I know last year they lost to Limestone twice, once in the regular season and once in the conference tournament, and then a 1-0 loss at home to open the season this year. So I think they're hoping that those are probably the 2 of the 3 top teams in the South Atlantic Conference.
Yeah. I mean, Limestone's 5, right?
Limestone's 5. Wingate is 9.
They're at top 10,
8 or 9, and then we're 18th now. So I'm thinking that they're
Wingate
wanting
game should be fun.
That they're wanting that the Wingate game is going to be fun.
Is that here? Do you know? A chance?
Not sure.
But wherever it is, it's going to be a must-watch.
Yes,
for any soccer.
Whether you're watching it here at the Cobra Athletic Turf or on the Flow Sports Network. But, I think that Coach Antonovich is hoping that they get their number called in the SAC tournament and they get to play Limestone again, because I think that all these guys that are on the team now, they want their revenge against Limestone. It's been 3 losses in a row, and they want to get that back for sure.
Yeah, and Wingate, they're 9th in the country, and that's our last game of the season, and it's here.
Is it senior night?
It'll be
senior night.
It'll be senior night here in Hartsville.
It's 7 p.m. 7 p.m.
Yep, that's gonna be.
Yeah,
you got
under the lights. Last game of the season.
What day is that?
And
it's a Wednesday, November 6th.
And if things continue to go in the direction that they are right now,
it's gonna be for the top spot or second or. It's going to be for one of the top spots.
10, top 15 matchup for sure.
It may be a top 15 nationally ranked matchup heading into this.
Yeah, so
organize that whiteout.
Yeah,
always to sure. Whiteout the night games.
You're saying it now. October or November 6th, whiteout.
Yep. Do we have that poll?
I mean, we can. We have the social media right now. I mean, pretty good the social media thing.
We kind of run the social media so we can advertise it.
Max, just get some pictures and then. But people in the white, so
we'll get some pictures going. We'll get a cinematic video going for the game. I'll call the whole thing, and we'll get it going. We'll
Tyler up there,
statting away.
Yep.
Like, I love when everyone comes to the lacrosse games and it's packed out, but like I love going to the soccer games and everybody's there.
Yeah.
It's like whether it's the whiteout or it's just a game and we're all there, but the night games, like. Doesn't matter which soccer team it is. When everyone's there, it's so fun.
It's also everybody's just there, and like everybody on campus, especially when they have a game like that, when everybody's here, because usually sometimes we'll catch them, and then people are on breaks, and soccer at night, like everybody on campus, like we'll be there for that.
Well, as soon as you throw the conference play in there, the stakes go up.
Well, it will be a conference game, hopefully a nationally ranked matchup at that point for both of them. And the fact that it's during the week, so people are here on campus. And
Wednesday, you said?
It's a Wednesday night, so it's a night game. So people aren't in classes; they're not away. They're there at the Cobra Athletic Turf in those bleachers. So, I hopefully that's going to be a great one. Wow, I can't believe that one's at home.
So it's going to be a fun one for sure.
Yeah, for sure. And we also just wanted to lift our thoughts, prayers, condolences to the people affected by Hurricane Helene, on everything that's gone through, especially our SAC member schools that have been affected by it, but also other institutions and towns and just it's kind of ripped a hole through the Carolinas, and so we're our thoughts are with those people, and it also affected one of our games last week. We didn't get hit very hard here at Coker, but it did have an effect on a game that was supposed to be played with the field hockey game. So if you wanted to speak more on that.
Yeah, so I mean, I know I spoke to Joan a little bit throughout the week. She feels like her team's kind of headed in the right direction. They're starting to turn that corner. She said we keep playing, solid halves, and if we can put 2 of them together, we have a chance to put some stuff together here down the stretch. So she was excited about the challenge with Lincoln Memorial. Unfortunately, it got postponed on Friday, and then they were supposed to play tomorrow on Wednesday, and that kind of also got postponed again. So I know she was a little bummed out about that, but definitely understand it considering the circumstances, and they're continuing to work hard, and like I said, she feels like they're right around the corner from putting some stuff together. So she's excited, even though the games got canceled or postponed, but she feels pretty strong and confident in what they're building.
Yeah, and we look forward to having Joan and hopefully a player along with it on a podcast in the future to talk about the direction that program's going. So we're excited about that. So speaking of different teams being ready for challenges, I know Max went with them this week, but this weekend on Sunday, our softball team here went up to UNC in Chapel Hill and played the Tar Heels on their field. So Max, how was it being up there and taking pictures? And
it was a really good experience. I love going to Chapel Hill. I've been there a few times. It's not a bad drive from Coker, but I was pretty worried about those roads in North Carolina traveling there, so I made sure to give myself some extra time. But I mean, just pulling into a D1 campus, there's nothing like it. And
yeah,
you get to see the tower that they light up, and I mean, it's all cool. And we didn't have to have any media credentials, so I literally got to do whatever I wanted. And so I got to go up on top of the dugout and take some pictures, and I think we had fun for the most part, but it was
experience.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
It was so hot. I accidentally wore a long sleeve T-shirt. That was the mistake of the weekend. Yeah. Everyone was making fun of me. I was like chugging water. But I mean, it doesn't get much better than the Carolina Blue, and just seeing the Cobras in Chapel Hill. I mean, that was pretty fun.
Yeah, and I that's definitely the best team that they're gonna see all year. So I mean, it's not like they're regularly playing that kind of competition. So if they can see that competition and adjust and get better off of that, then they're going to be ready for a SAC schedule here in the spring, and that we're really excited for. They had another scrimmage. It was the weekend before or 2 weekends before against Charleston Southern.
Yeah.
That they played Charleston Southern really close, and Coach Bennett is really excited for the resurgence of Coker softball, and she's ready for the spring already. So.
Yeah, it was fun. They were batting through everybody, so everybody got in a bat in each game.
It's good.
I believe they all did, but she did. I don't know if they finished it because it was only 7 innings, but the plan was to bat everybody. So it was cool to see everybody play. Like when we're here, not everyone plays unless we have a doubleheader. So it was nice to see everyone out there, get pictures of everyone.
Good experience for them all, honestly.
Yeah. Especially for a freshman coming in, getting that.
Go
to a D1. Welcome to it, right? Yeah. Welcome to the show. All right, now we're gonna move into next week, looking at games that Coker will be playing home and away. So first, we're gonna start off with women's soccer, who travels to Catawba to take on the Catawba Indians in SAC play at 7:30. Who happens to be the number 17th ranked team in the country. I know Michael and the girls are ready for that one. You guys got anything else to add to that?
Yeah, I heard the team talking a little bit today, and it's going to be the toughest challenge they've had to date on the season. So they're really looking forward to the challenge, and this is going to be a true test for their skill, and they're young, but they've been able to hang into a lot of the games this season. So I know they're looking forward to it, and I'm sure looking forward to hearing about it.
And that game is on Wednesday.
Tomorrow night.
Well, recording is on Tuesday, so Wednesday, the 2nd of October, that game will be played. And then they'll travel to Emory and Henry this weekend, Sunday game this week at 4:30. And then men's soccer, pretty much the same schedule as them, just different times. They also travel to Catawba on Wednesday. They'll play at 5 p.m. And then they'll also travel up to Emory and Henry with a kickoff at 2 p.m. And now we're moved out to the men's and women's tennis courts.
Yeah, so Coker plays their invitational on Saturday and Sunday. They needed more court space, so they're not playing here in Hartsville, but they will be playing a short drive away in Florence at the Florence Tennis Center. So lots of courts going on. I believe there's 6 different schools that are going to be at that invitational, and our tennis coaches, Tom Simpson, our head coach, and then Derek is the graduate assistant coach. They're working on a draw this week, so they're putting together the tournament bracket and everything. So I think that starts at 10 a.m. Both days. So, if you're in the area, then get out to the Florence Tennis Center and watch some really, really good tennis. They've had a stellar fall season for both teams. So I'm excited to actually, be able to drive there and spend the day and watching some really good competition. And then cross country also competes this weekend. They're at the Newberry Cross Country Invitational on Saturday, and I believe that race kicks off at 10 a.m. as well. So,
and that just about wraps up this week's episode of the Cobra Corner. Be sure to catch the Cobras in action this week with matchups across soccer, golf, tennis, and more. Stay tuned for updates, recaps, interviews with all the athletes and coaches from Coker University. Don't forget to subscribe, follow us on social media, and as always, go Cobras.